Okay, very good afternoon to everyone, okay, to the participants of today's Creative Arts Program Reading Showcase, and to everyone who has tuned in to this showcase as well. I think we have family members of our readers, we have friends, we have our mentors, and basically anyone who's interested in listening to the works of our young student poets. Right, we are very privileged and honored to be a part of the Poetry Festival SG 2021. The Creative Arts Program is a program that's organized by MOE as well as Yale and US College for budding creative writers at the secondary and JC levels. And this showcase presents the work of some of the poetry mentorship students of the program's 2020 to 2021 cycle. And we're also thrilled to have with us pupils who participated in the creative writing program in 2020. So the creative writing program is a sister program of the CAP. It's organized by MOE for primary 5 pupils who demonstrate an interest towards creative writing. Okay, so not to worry, all right, for the younger ones who have joined us today, if you're feeling a tad nervous, we have the older students to lead the way. Although they may be feeling a little bit nervous themselves, right? So today's showcase will feature poems that are centered around the festival theme of community, right? So we'll say a bit more about the theme and about these poems later on, but without further ado, let's get started with the first poem. Okay, so to start us off, we have Yashmita. Yashmita is from Catholic Junior College, and she will be reading her poem titled Sayang. So Yashmita, over to you.
When I think about community, I think about comfort. And when I think of comfort, I think of my grandmother. Sayang was inspired by my fascination towards her incorporation of Tamil, Malay, and English in her daily speech. Whenever I'm going through a particularly rough spot in my life, I realized that this to me was my sense of comfort and familiarity, the words I turned to and always anticipated to hear during trying times. Hence, I wrote Sayang as a means of sharing this sense of comfort in hopes that it will similarly establish a sense of affinity with readers and resonate with them, as it always did with me. I hope you enjoy. Sayang. Sayang, why your nose got so many holes? God give us 2 enough already. Cannot breathe, go take inhaler. I put under the pillow. Sayang, your ear also so many holes, but still don't listen to Ma. In the morning, Ma wake up, see your leg here, leg there. Got Momo come when you're dreaming, is it? I tell you already, come home so late, then never wash leg. Of course, Momo follow you home. How was school, Sayang? Exam all okay? You said because Shegu not happy? Sayang, even your diamond nose stud is from uncle put high heat on cold, high pressure. When Ma make your favorite kueh, I must let each layer rest. Like all the different color, we're all different, Sayang. Ayah, never mind. Eat my kueh happy, you see shiny in the mirror also happy, right? Don't say that, Sayang. Why you cry? Who say you're not pretty? Sayang, you know the butterfly you keep in the Tupperware? Or was it just a chantik moth? I saw on TV the other day. They said butterfly don't know that their wings very chantik because they cannot see, but everyone else can see. We all can see. The world is your Tupperware. You also like butterflies, Sayang, but not so poor thing lah. You only poke 4 holes for the butterfly to breathe. Can be a bit more generous or not? Generous like your ma. Last week, neighbor all say my curry puff very nice. I thought of you when making the filling. You must also learn, Sayang. Ma is getting old. Next time I'm not here, better not catch you buying curry puffs. At the bus interchange, okay. The auntie very nice. When you were small, she always say your hand's very special because your fingernail shaped like the moon. The one on our flag. Sayang, when I'm gone, must be good girl, okay? Don't start fight with your parents. If you're angry, remember what I say. Do it for me. You know how much I'll miss you or not, Sayang. Thank you.
Thank you, Yashmita. I really can hear the voice of your grandmother through your poem, and to some extent the voice of my own grandmother as well. I think it just, regardless of the culture or household, there are certain ubiquitous traits of grandmothers and their relationship with granddaughters as well. Okay, all right, and our next poem will be read by Elim Chiu. Elim is from Nanyang Girls High School, and her poem is entitled Hello Friend. Elim, please.
Hi, I'm Elim, and I'm very honored to be here reading my poem today. This poem actually came from a writing exercise I did with my mentor about the random things that I observed in life, which is why it might seem a bit disconnected, confusing, and perhaps even overwhelming at times. But at the same time, I hope that I can convey through the poem that there are things in life that we can appreciate and people around us who care, which hopefully makes things slightly better. So here's my poem. Hello, friend. Count down the 45 minutes left till recess. Smell the canteen food, hear the chatter, and attempt to understand. Under the fire alarm ringing continuously, ears vibrate as if a bee were buzzing, amplified to 3,000 hertz of metallic clanging. The power of words to influence, bring together, manipulate, channel light. Satin soft fur purrs against your leg, and it is dinner time. Call him, run with him, and put him right in front of his food to eat. Pet him, watch him chomp it down, like how the sentences chomp you up. The sky is never the same. Its colors always vivid, different each day. As if you were reliving it, but still, sleep early before 2 a.m. It will be good for you.
Thank you, Elim. Thank you. We all need that kind of community in school and with our friends as well. Right. Next up, we have our first creative writing program reader. She's Kimi Ong. Kimi is from Raffles Girls Primary School, and she's here to share with us her sentiments on home-based learning. Kimi?
Hello, my name is Kimi Ong, and I'm from Raffles Girls Primary School. My poem is titled Home-Based Learning. I wrote this poem based on my experiences with HBL last year, and this poem encapsulates what I hope my home-based learning experience might be or could be like in the future. Home-based learning. My, is it morning again, or is it not? I asked through a fog of vanishing dreams. My sister points to the clock. Time never lies. It's another day. Do I know the date? Everything's the same as it was, just a day ago, except the eggs which were poached are all wildly scrambled today. Mum points out. My eyes roll to the ceiling. Eat up, drink up. It's home-based learning time. Wait, wasn't that just yesterday? But yes, today is another day. Circuit breaker, Mum says. Stepping out is not an option. Make the most of every day, she says. I, for one, certainly would if I could. If you, Mummy dearest, would only hear me out. And so, if I had a say and some sway in educating 11-year-olds staying home on a circuit breaker day, I would introduce them to the wonderful world of culinary contests and tasty travelogues. Step right up and put your maths to the test. Measurements, calculations, don't forget. Your cups, ounces, grams, and millimeters. Also, expand your vocabulary with luscious pickings. Julienne, saute, caramelize, poach with a pinch of salt, and open your eyes to newfangled yummy delights. Bubble tea, souffle, panna cotta, pancake, I will point the way. Now, hold your tongue, my mummy dearest. I know well, learning is not just all about food fun, cook-offs, chefs in silly top hats. Step on right this way to the living room. Point the remote at the television. Lo and behold, it's Sherlock. He could teach me a thing or two on stepping out in style when I finally get to breathe the air outside. And oh yes, picking a lock here and there, managing a sly brush with danger, or pointing out a crook or two with just a stained shirt collar, and the faintest whiff of ointment for clues. You see, learning has stepped up a whole notch. Now, before you thunder, couch potato. I have it all worked out to a science. PA is certainly part of the plan. Of course, it is my favorite subject. Shred those abs and fats, torch those calories. The internet is replete with classes. For all, no matter your age, shape, or size. I could even do a live workout at 6 a.m. with an instructor booming in my ear. Step to the front, lunge to the back. Again. Point out those toes. If it burns, it worked. My heart bursting, veins popping, sweat dripping. Yeah, go get them, girls. Just another minute. What's the plan? All steps worked out to a T. Mom points to the clock. Well, I can't say more. I tried my best, but time to hit the books. Neither say nor sway I have in this house. The wordy instructions, a login name, and password I do have. Mix them all in. What do I see? Singapore learning space. A world of wonder, possibilities. Things I must learn, procedures, steps and all. Good grief, there's recorded practice as well. And a long list of other things. Just swell. Hand in hand, the video call is well in play. No way out, now smile for the camera. Just another day, just like yesterday. Like the next. Wait, what is the date you say? Thank you.
Thank you, Kimi. Yeah, I can see you really thought through about what your ideal home-based learning would be like, and yeah, maybe we should sisters give us some ideas as educators about how we can make home-based learning a bit more engaging for our students, especially since it looks like we'll have to grapple with home-based learning for some time more as well. Right, thank you, Kimi, and we'll move on to our next poem. Okay, this is a poem entitled Dragon at Dawn by Lim Liang Ying, and Liang Ying is from Tampines Meridian Junior College. Liang Ying, please.
Hello everyone, thank you very much for inviting me for this poetry reading. I would first read my poem and then share with you more about it. You tell me that I am born a girl and should act like one. The glass slippers you gave me squeeze my toes bloody, but I still smile and tend to you in honey-hued kisses. You tell me the world outside is full of danger, so I stay where I am, pure porcelain. I hear the hollers of men as they climb mountains and skydive while I prepare dinner. When the sun winks away, I swallow the stale air and let the thing in me continue its slumber. But what makes you so sure it's dead asleep? Twilight comes and I feel its heartbeat picking up. I leave the dishes, throw my glass slippers away for skin against the gravel. The bruises and scars will become my scales. The creature pecks away the shell and in comes the first streak of sunlight. A stroke of wild breeze. In no time, my feet fire like gunshots. Later, you will see me dive with Marines and conquer Everest. I bask in daylight's full glory, and this will be the last time I'll ever kiss you. Dragon at dawn, breathe in the flames. Open your wings and take flight. So let me share with you more about this poem. This poem came from an inspiration after I had a quarrel with my dad on what CCA I wanted to join. I wanted to join Wushu and he was against it because he said that, you know, I wouldn't be a girl anymore and it wasn't feminine enough. He cited reasons like, oh, it's too dangerous and then you'll get all sorts of injuries and you'll be very unwomanly. And it really hit a sore spot for me because I never knew that my dad would still have this traditionalistic mindset where like women can only do feminine stuff and if you ever try to do something that's manly, then God help you, you know. I think how this relates to community is, you know, even in this day and age, women still face discrimination in some way, and it is up to us to empower them, to encourage them to be who they are, to let go of these old ways that we used to follow, and to really allow women to be the dragons that they wish to be. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Liang Ying. Thank you for sharing that experience with us, and I'm sure it's something that quite a number of us can identify with in terms of grappling with societal expectations and how sometimes this has intentions with our own personal dreams as well. Right, okay, next up, I'd like to introduce Tam Winnie. Winnie is from CHIJ St. Nicholas Girls' School, and she'll be presenting her poem, Photography. Winnie?
Thank you, Ms. Un. Hi, everyone. So my 5-part poem, Photographic, depicts the process of a world seen through the eyes of a camera, passing through the different layers of lens from different angles. I use the sustained metaphor in my writing to convey the mutual cause and effect relationship between attitudes and experiences, as while experiences mold our attitudes, they are also influenced by them. And since these same attitudes are what alter our individual perceptions. On the theme of community, let us encourage each other to view the world in different spaces and times, and to take a variety of new perspectives, enabling us to forge deeper, stronger, and more meaningful relations in our society. So I'll now proceed to read my poem. Photographic. Part 1. The vitality of a scene, away from judgment, carried solely by the eyes. An inexplicable purity none should understand. The manifestation of such an impartial perspective, inhuman, yet judicious beyond what words describe, what minds comprehend, what hearts understand. A vision, unconstricted, traversing a 360 view in a 2-dimensional world, in a place unbeknownst to us.
Thank you.
Part 2.
Oh.
Judgment, a snapshot. Static images through a pixelated window gain a sense of dullness. On screen, a refined photograph lies, a counterfeit. A frosty, blurred background. Importance and identity lost. As residual waste is removed, it is discarded. Matchless attributes rendered insignificant as oxygen in our sightless air. In contrast, a brighter subject, its vibrancy radiating ripples of awe. Yet, false pursuit towards perfection tweaks its appearance towards what is envisioned. Such a fixation beguiles its witnesses, limitlessly. Pan the camera vertically down, tilt it up by 45 degrees. The blueness of the seawater forms a crusty slab of ice, denting and tearing metal to the extreme. The angle shifts, the pivotal details that contribute to the larger picture, that contributes to the attitudes we take towards it, lost. Often, a scout for our perception of the correct angle is like a cream-colored canvas, indoctrinated by a painter's palette. A myriad of valueless viewpoints, stark differences we do not analyze but would rather see at surface level. Part 3. A single Polaroid, molding minds, changing perceptions. Stare longer, leave the present for the past. Replay the scene. Moments float like feathers that falter under pascals of atmosphere. Like the gravitas of a gaze, one connoting an irrefutable seriousness, causing the fall of others, including itself. Render the premise of aid in such a predicament because of dissipated truths, unoriginal novelties. Inevitable impressions are formed. A single culprit, a hard-wired brain in the presence of schemas, contorting logic of complex beings, the mental boxes, the authoritarian rule, twist our attitudes towards experience, contaminate original events with filth and grime. The unfathomable purity, lost. Part 4. Faded, unavoidably. An abstract piece of art with blotched colors of the moment. The original blankness, lost. Deprived of its detailed imaging, yet its impact is unimaginable. The changes caused are unimaginable. The memories, sustained. Each unique outlook of life paints an unparalleled filter with differing lenses. Perhaps to contemplate other photographs is to discount individual encounters for that of others. Perhaps to never zoom in is to disallow personal experiences to be our end-all and be-all. Perhaps to honestly analyze collectives is to free ourselves from the freedom of conflicting conceptions. Part 5. It doesn't really end. Synapses build and break timelessly, a complicated cycle with no cessation. Experiences alter impressions and attitudes, an impact on details deemed significant, affecting the way we see experiences through a pair of clouded lenses. Thank you.
Thank you, Minnie. Thanks for this this poem in itself that is and that encapsulates the perspectives and even the kind of lenses that we view experiences, even the community around us with. Okay. And we are moving on to Rochelle, and Rochelle is from St. Andrew's Junior College. Rochelle will be reading her poem, Tree of Life, to us. Rochelle, please.
Hello, my name is Rochelle and I wrote a poem called Tree of Life. I wrote this while I was homesick, thinking about the adrenaline pumping when climbing up the trunk of a coconut tree, the excitement to finally reach the top after a rough climb, the eagerness of hens to knock the fruits down. This whole operation would typically involve several people, some to catch the coconuts before they landed, some to slice the fruit open, and some to nudge the flesh out of its shell. And this, to me, truly captures the essence of community, trusting that each cog in the wheel operates to the best of their abilities to keep the machine working. Having that collective sense of purpose to drive individuals, innovation, and ideas forward. I hope you enjoy. Tree of Life. Outstretch arms parallel to ground, quick strides to heaven and beyond. Rap knocking and peering into my humble abode, no one's home. A single swipe, knocked down, passionately kissing soft silt. Pry me open and tear the soft putty in your hands. Left me high and dry under feverish sun. Scrape the shell and leave it bare. Thank you.
Thank you, Rochelle. Right, and we have with us next Chloe Lim. Chloe is from Zhangde Primary School, and she was also a participant of the creative writing program in 2020. And Chloe will be sharing with us her reflections on the 4 seasons. Chloe, over to you.
Hi everyone, I am Chloe from Zhangde Primary School. I wanted to write this poem 4 seasons because I have always wondered how a tree feels and thinks in relation to the changes it undergoes during the different seasons. I think that writing a poem from a tree's perspective will be very interesting. Hence, I used this poem to convey the tree's thoughts and feelings throughout the 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And I will now proceed to reading my poem. 4 seasons. A lonely tree, its branches bare. Winter is here, colder than it can bear. Snowflakes fall and twirl all around. slowly landing on the pure white ground. The cold wind howls, showing no mercy. The tree shivers, it's oh so lonely. On its branches lie a layer of snow, making the tree colder than cold. Springtime comes, the season of joy. The world is alive with happy girls and boys. Green leaves grow and flowers blossom, making the tree look truly awesome. The tree sways in the wind happily. Below it stands a girl and her family. They laugh and play and sing all day, chasing all the tree's troubles away. Summertime arrives with a hot shining sun. Friends everywhere having great fun. Out sprout leaves of every color. They're flung in the air with much joy and laughter. Seeing all this, the big tree smiles. The laughter is so merry, he hopes it lasts a while. Then a colder spell arrives. The leaves all turn very dry. They turn yellow, orange, red, and brown, and make a soft rustling sound. Then leaves fall slowly onto the lane. For winter is here, it's here again. Thank you.
Thank you, Chloe, for sharing that perspective of the four seasons with us. It really does make us feel that we want to experience these just as the tree did, right? And next up, okay, we have two students, two poets who will be reading. They are not here with us in this Zoom session today, as they have other matters to settle, but they have recorded their poems as well as the introduction to their poems, and they will be sharing these with us. So first up, you will hear Loksan E from Raffles Institution, and she will be sharing her poem Lilies with us. And this will be followed by Samuel Sim's poem Archipelago, and Samuel is also from Raffles Institution. So let us listen to both these poems.
Hi, I'm Loksan E, and here is my poem titled Lilies. Fake, plastic, they have been arranged neatly on the couch side table for 2 years now, dust blanketing every millimeter of the dyed polyester. Speckles are floating around her, invisible, gently landing on her crooked spectacles, on the strands of her greying hair, tucking themselves into the folds of her wrinkles. Mildly, she snores. Her thin shirt crinkles with every deep breath. She will wake, dazed, adjust her crooked spectacles, fix her hair. Her skin will turn more wrinkled as she furrows her eyebrows at her laptop, sitting quietly on her fragile legs, face framed by harsh fluorescence and synthetic lilies. Their familiar form, serene curl of the petals, soft gradient, exhales a month's-old memory of living lilies amongst an abundance of morning bouquets, forming a mountain at the feet. Muffled whispers drifting carefully around the sobbing solid. I had stared at my friend's fragile body, still in the gleaming, pristine white case. I wondered if I watched her young face long enough, the folds of her shirt and the corners of her eyes would crinkle again. That was my poem titled Lilies. I suppose it was fairly self-explanatory, but to further contextualize the poem, my piece was inspired by the taboo-like image of my mother dozing off beside a vase of arranged flowers in our living room, and despite her ratty clothes, it looked just so poetic that I couldn't help but write about it. The stillness and serenity of the picture, as well as the fragility of my mother's physical state, reminded me of our frail mortality, which I became especially aware of after one of my best friends passed away last year. What I was trying to express was how after my friend's passing, I started seeing death in everything and noticing, perhaps dreading, the mortality of the people around me, especially my own parents, who are much older than my friend and thus might go at any second too. While this poem was a morbid conclusion to draw from a delicate image, I would like to think that this also expresses the depth of my attachment to my loved ones and my desire to appreciate every moment I have left with them. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Yeah, I'm Sam, or you can also call me Samuel. I'm fine for either. Yeah, and I guess today I'll be reading like a poem called Archipelago. Yeah. As his name suggests, I guess, it's a poem about nature and about like the islands around Singapore. Yeah, and I guess I wrote that at a time also when I was like visiting various islands in like Pulau Ubin, Sengkang Island, and just really learning more about I guess like the culture and history there. Like for example, Sengkang Island being a place where there were political detainees, migrant workers still work there, like and yeah, and also about the idea of land being reclaimed, both in the sense of land being literally taken from like the islanders, then being forced out of the island, as well as land being reclaimed from nature. Um, the idea of using sand to reclaim land and coral reefs being destroyed to make way for an extension of Lazarus Island and so on. Yeah, so the first response from this team is really like to hold space for that. I think secondly also this poem is trying to grapple with various structures. So that's why the wave features as like a very prominent image here. Both in the sense of like the tug of the wave being like the pull, the idea of like needing to resist that pull, the pull and the push. Yeah, the idea of resistance and rebellion, as well as the idea of memory and erosion, as well as deposition, right? What is at the end of like what does the wave deposit at the end of the day? And so that's why structures, both in the form of language, as I try to contemplate like, how do I actually write a poem about an island that I wasn't born in, and how do I do so in a way that is not appropriating like certain not local knowledges, right? And that's something I think I still grapple with, and that's why at the end of the poem you'll see that language sort of falls apart. I'm not following like a certain structure of rhythm that I set out to do in the first place. And of course the structure that I do uses like a pentameter, the idea that's so very like I guess European or British. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess the last thing also is the idea of time. And you'll see later that the poem is not meant to be read in any single way, although I choose like maybe the most I guess then like I guess the most intuitive way of reading it. But you'll see that there are different stanzas, and it's not meant to be read from any specific stanza. It's meant to be read from anywhere, whatever way, clockwise, anti-clockwise, because time flows non-linearly, and I think this poem, hopefully also grapples with some of that, or at least tries to grapple with some of that ideas of like time, history, what does it mean to write about something that is of the past, but also of the pattern and is of the future, and like what do these concepts of time actually mean for different people. Yeah, without further ado, I'll start reading the poem. Yeah. So the world swings on a tensor tilt, theories from Cocoa Fall. By coastline east, by Kelong Field, sea fish line tidal dry. So Marina Blaze was tied to the sea, or written by a hand. As Safwat say, the gallery, but the Jubin, erased. The great Tusagot Islanders vanish for two houses, to infiltrate currents obscured, keep edit migrants out. From old heated tales of bumboat, tucked by then quarantine, and of the few with memory, the displaced 2017. I surrender not to white sunset, espouses Sentosa, each manicured that suits bright shadow. Like storm clouds cooked from merchant ships, then the float, nor hanging, Queens routinely there are far living, to obey from a pulau name, though obscene, experience. Movies let us pensive rest on Marina Barrage, but thankful now numbing sinks in with detergent from book shape. Clean cutting these so we forget and measuring distance wide, Each wave came too like fingers closed, uphill glance, rain at most. Ahead on board find Miss Ubin, to your heart call forlorn. As you grieve for enshrined red love, flaking spirals on expanse, grey, white, an engine chiming, smitten by waves bound above. Where would you serve? Yeah. And with that, thank you everyone. I hope you enjoyed the poem.
Okay, thank you to both Sun E and Samuel for their poems. I think one is a more personal reflection of immediate community, and the other is a more macro perspective, really, of our island community, if you will. Right, and all right, and next up we have a poem written in Mandarin. This is by one of our poets who joined the Creative Arts program in terms of the Mandarin provisions. At the Creative Arts program, we have provisions for students who wish to write in English as well as in Mandarin, Malay, or Tamil. Right, so Wayson will be sharing with us a poem entitled Shu, or Tree. Wayson?
This poem is written in remembrance of a tree that is very special to me. It is gone now due to construction not long ago. To be honest, this tree may not be quite special in the eyes of others, but to me, it is the most beautiful one I've ever seen. I feel both fortunate that I remember it when I could still hold it, and regret that I didn't look more. Perhaps we should slow down our pace and appreciate the things that the moment has to offer us. I'll read my poem now. Thank you. 树，清晨清冷清风中，伫立灯下的一棵树，灯光让树梢染上了金黄，洒在路的尽头。过往的人们脚步匆匆，随叶片在风中飘动，可他的身躯始终怡然，伫立在路的尽头，像在眺望或在等待，有一棵树。过往的人们脚步匆匆，有一个人驻足，伫立在路上的那一棵树，倒影在一人眼中，岂需向路灯借取光芒？熠熠发光是他的心脏，那树的模样，那人已记住，他本就是一抹亮。Thank you.
Thank you, Wayson. Right, and our next poem is by Alyssa Lee, and Alyssa is from Raffles Girls' School, and she will be reading her poem Cleaner. Alyssa, please.
Hi everyone, thank you again for inviting me. My name is Alyssa Lee, and I am from Raffles Girls' School. I'll be reading my poem titled Cleaner. Playing the 91 Walkman, he sweeps, sweeps, sweeps. The speckles on the concrete, the money throughout the lawn. With each passing day, he scoops, scoops, scoops at the grimy silver currents, hence draining it away. Painted ridges on his brow, he scrapes, 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 with once fizzling rigor, now cold fingers against the rust. One whispery breath, he exhales, all his tumult on a Marlboro Gold cigarette butt. Thank you for listening. The inspiration for this poem came knocking one day when I chanced upon an elderly man in his 70s. He was a cleaner in an MRT station, and in his twilight years, his face was wrinkled with years of words unsaid, about his past, about his predicament, and about his prospects for the future. Yet the commuters around him treated him like thin air, gushing around him and hurrying along with their lives. I was simply appalled by the lack of respect they accorded to him, even though he had just as much a right to be there as they did, as everyone has. So I think with this poem, I just wanted to share that like Tetris, everyone contributes to this society, and I wanted everyone to treat others as equals, as living, breathing individuals, the same way they would like others to treat themselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alyssa. I think that was really an insightful portrayal of a very important member of our community. Right? And we will now have Lim Kai Sin. Kai Sin is from Nanhua Primary School, and she'll be presenting to us a very interesting poem entitled Two Choices. Kai Sin, please.
Hello everyone, I'm Lim Kai Sin from Nanhua Primary School, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to be here today. I was inspired by a Chinese book in which a boy was mean and cold-shouldered to his childhood friend because of peer pressure. So I wrote this poem with a similar concept. In the poem, you see the narrator struggling between two choices when the poem is being read from top to bottom, and vice versa. Standing up for Ivy or leaving Ivy to be bullied are the two choices. My message through this poem is to not obey peer pressure, but be that odd one out in the crowd and make the right choice to do the right thing. This is my choice. Believe in yourself. Don't believe peer pressure. Your friends aren't laughing with her. Your friends are laughing at her, but you shouldn't leave her in the lurch. Do not go to Ivy's aid, peer pressure urged, but I knew I had to lend her a helping hand. However, peer pressure asked, do you want to be scorned by your friends? I cast a nervous glance at my friends. As Ivy fell down, they jeered, the popular kids, my friends. Wincing in pain, grimacing in agony, Ivy was in the need of someone to support her. My thought to help Ivy, peer pressure opposed. Peer pressure hit the gavel to the striking block. A debate was about to begin. Peer pressure sat down opposite me. It was eyeballing me self-righteously. Not only was peer pressure staring at me, Ivy was peering at me hopefully. But I could not bring myself to help her. Stress, confusion, frustration. I didn't know what to do next. Stand up for her or not. Two choices lay in my hand. This was one choice. No, don't help her, peer pressure argued. This was one choice. Help her, she needs you, I heard myself saying. Walked over to Ivy. I never laughed at her. Quietly, I made my choice. Did what I thought was correct. I am sure it was right. Now, I'm going to read this poem from the bottom, for each line left to right, pausing at the punctuations. This will be about the narrator making another choice, which is not to help Ivy. I am sure it was right. Did what I thought was correct. Made my choice. Quietly, I laughed at her. I never walked over to Ivy. I heard myself saying, she needs you. Help her. This was one choice. Peer pressure argued, don't help her. No. This was one choice. Two choices lay in my hands. Stand up for her or not. I didn't know what to do next. Frustration, confusion, stress. I could not bring myself to help her, but Ivy was peering at me hopefully. Not only was peer pressure staring at me, it was eyeballing me self-righteously. Peer pressure sat down opposite me. A debate was about to begin. Peer pressure hit the gavel to the striking block. Peer pressure opposed my thought to help Ivy. In the need of someone to support her, Ivy was. Grimacing in agony, wincing in pain. My friends, the popular kids, they jeered as Ivy fell down. I cast a nervous glance at my friends. Do you want to be scorned by your friends? Peer pressure asked. However, I knew I had to lend her a helping hand. But peer pressure urged, do not go to Ivy's aid. You shouldn't leave her in the lurch, but your friends are laughing at her. Your friends aren't laughing with her. Believe peer pressure. Don't believe in yourself. This is my choice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kai Sin, for that very clever use of poetic form to capture the two choices. It's almost as if we are presented with this dilemma and we're at the crossroads and we can see what the impact of each choice might be if we make that particular choice. Okay. And right, next up we have Ashley Tan. And Ashley is from Catholic Junior College and she will be sharing with us her poem Poetica. Ashley, over to you.
Hi there, everyone. I was inspired to write this poem when my closest friend dropped out of JC last year. And going into J2, it was difficult for me to let go and adjust to this new normal after 6 years, where we weren't going to be sharing as many experiences in school. Poetica is a poem that has a lot to do with separation and attachment, and how we as young adults rationalize the changes that come with growing up. And so it looks at that by mimicking a supercut, this reel of nostalgia, these very specific images of youth and intimacy in everyday life. And at the end, hopes to give some assurance that our relationships may undergo changes, but they don't fundamentally lose their beauty. Poetica. The morning routine has been suspended for 6 months. Your childhood flat rented out to a warm Malay family. Footsteps on the MRT platform, running on an independent schedule. Graduating early is a phenomenon, not uncommon, supernatural. Dropping out of school. This avenue is now a pit stop. There's always a place for you at my dinner table. Invite yourself in flickers through the year. Leaning against a supercut of us at 13. Making plans to go to the same uni, be bridesmaids at each other's weddings. Sat on your pull-out bed with legs crossed, girlish wonder. Waiting for your helper to prepare lunch. Waiting to be a mature something. Television on, hair damp from swimming at your new condo pool. Alighting at a different station tomorrow. A gouache painting of sunflowers I made years ago stands in the background of admin letters, library fines, and growing up at full speed ahead. One day of cool, blue-tinted normalcy. To hold you and know, even on my own, I am a lovely riot. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. I enjoyed that very much. And it's indeed really a very potent poem. Right. All right. We now have Julian Yanchishin, who is from Hwa Chong Institution, and she'll be reading her poem Kueh Bangkit. Julian.
Thank you, Miss Boon. Hi, I'm Chishan, and today I'll be sharing my poem Kueh Bangkit, which is about how we lose our childlike perception and sense of wonder as we grow up, just like how the cookies are slowly disintegrated throughout. I hope you enjoy. Kueh Bangkit. Small white flowers that split at a red point, stacked in ivory towers, each piece given a place. Our tiny hands tried to grasp at tinier cookies that took so long to rise, only to dissolve into ash. They fall apart too easily, crumbling onto our New Year clothes, and all over the floor, which we dare not sweep, else our good luck runs off on all fours. An old tale we stopped believing at 5. We fall apart too, easily, as pretty imprints become cracked fissures, jagged lines on burnt skin, wrinkled by long hours in the heat. Forgotten in the oven as we chase after the more glamorous, macaroons and meringue. The magic dissipates, and nobody wants cookies wishing to be flowers. We throw away ash flowers in exchange for live ones that wilt on command. Time dissolves in our world, and the flower cookies melt under our tongues. Heat grinding the petals into a powdery complex, reflecting our memories. Now overbaked, sunken bricks wearing away our foundation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chishian, for this coming of age poem. It's also another very poignant poem. Okay, and we now have a poem by Hu Anpo. It's entitled Tasting Dusk. Anpo is from Tanjong Katong Primary School, so he is one of our creative writing program participants as well. And Anpo is not able to join us today, so we're just going to share his poem on screen, okay, that you may just take a look and enjoy. Okay. Okay, and that was Anpo's poem, which I must say remarkably exudes such a deep sense of nostalgia for someone who wrote this when he was only 11. Okay, and also to regale us with some nostalgia, we have Wayson poem entitled Tableau, and Wayson is from Chij St. Nicholas Girls' School. Wayson.
Hello everyone, I'm Wayson and I'm very excited to share my poem with you. So I wrote this poem about the impact of the pandemic on the local theatre community and the optimism in the reopening of theatres despite the many challenges faced even till today. The title tableau is a term used in drama, meaning scenes where actors create a still image using their bodies. I hope you can immerse yourself in the images that each stanza coalesces around, and I hope you enjoy this poem. Tableau. 1. Intermission. How could we have known? The house lights always brightened at intermission, a space to savor the moment. Let anticipation bubble briefly. We waited, shoulder to shoulder, huddled in velvet seats. Nothing on the program said it would last a year. 2. Ghost light. Break the circuit, but leave a light on. A solitary bulb, illuminating no one but the spirit that still lives in haunting silence. Superstition that once appeased ghosts now extends its comfort to us, that they can still find solace in soliloquies on an empty stage, 2 empty chairs. To sleep, perchance to dream, of yesterday and tomorrow. Shine and coax dawn into breaking again. 3. Mask. Cover your face, but not your heart. Pull close, despite the distance. Unconcealed eyes dart from set to lights and back, searching, hungry for words to strip us raw. Anticipation cracks apart numbness that the months have built like calluses. 4. Welcome home. Thaw the remnants of frozen darkness as house lights dim again. A spotlight warms and our hands, once frost-wrapped, come together. The theatre wakes. We watch the second act begin. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that.
Thank you very much, Wayson. We definitely enjoyed it, and I hope I'm sure the audience has as well. Okay, and thank you for staying with us up to this point of the showcase. We've come to the last poem. Just as we started this showcase with a poem, with Yashmita's poem on her grandmother, so we are rounding off the showcase with a poem on grandmothers as well, and they're certainly a cornerstone of our community, so to speak. All right, and to round off this showcase, we have Andrea Law from National JC, and Andrea will be reading her poem, A Letter to Popo. Andrea?
Hello everyone, I'm Andrea. My poem today, A Letter to Popo, is inspired by my mother's recounts of her childhood. Most of my mother's childhood recounts always surround my popo, and even though I've never met my popo before, the stories tell me so much about her. My mother and her sibling grew up in a Malaysian kampong, where the community spirit is strong, just like the bond between her siblings and her. This is my poem. A Letter to Popo. Popo's eyes, smiles, hands, and voice are engraved in mother's memory. She tells me she remembers Popo through her char kway teow, the familiar stir-fried rice noodles hand-kneaded by chubby palms. Kway teow children. Skin bronzed from the kampong sun. All 8 mouths fed from the stall, the rest nourished from purchase. Now, the stall gone. Recipe kept safely in an urn, etched on 8 tongues. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. And we'd like to thank every one of you for your inspiring and enjoyable poems, and they've certainly given us much thought about the concept of community and what it means to us. And especially in current times such as these, I think we've come to more deeply appreciate the value of community, and it is our hope that both the Creative Arts program and the Creative Writing program serve as a community of support and enlightenment to those who love creative writing and value it as a means of expression. So if any of you are interested in finding out more about these programs, you can visit the links as shown on the screen. Right, and also we'd like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Eric Ballas and his organizing team for putting such a wonderful e-festival together, and also for having us as a part of this community each year, something we really deeply appreciate. So with that, we've come to the end of this session. Thank you very much, and we hope you enjoyed.